19, 20, and 21 goes back to finding the value of sine, cosine, maybe even tangent in the angles that we have. So again, we have to kind of know where they're at, and we have to know our reference triangles. In this case, since it's a pi over 6, we know it's going to be a 30, 60, 90. So this would be 1, 2, square root of 3, but we have to figure out where 11 pi over 6 is. So 1 pi over 6, 2 pi over 6, 3 pi over 6 is right there. 4 pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, 6 pi over 6 is the same thing as pi. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 pi over 6 means that this is a 30, 60, 90 reference triangle. So we know that this side is 1, the hypotenuse is 2, this side is the square root of 3, except for this one goes down, so instead of being a positive 1, it's going to be a negative 1. Let's make my negative in there. We want to do the cosine. Cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So my adjacent one is going to be the square root of 3. The hypotenuse is going to be 2. So square root of 3 over 2 is going to be what my cosine is equal to. Here we're doing 5 pi over 4. Since it's over 4, we know that it's a 45, 45, 90. You want to draw it that way? So if it's a 45, 45, 90, we've got 1, 1 in the square root of 2. Figuring out where that's at. 1 pi over 4, 2 pi over 4, 3 pi over 4, 4 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4 ends up being over here in quadrant 3. We know it's a 45, 45, 90, so 1, 1 and the square root of 2. However, this is going back, so it's negative. This is going down, so it's negative. And so if we're going to do the sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. The opposite side is going to be negative 1 over the square root of 2 then. We have to rationalize the denominator. So we multiply by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. We get negative square root of 2 over the square root of 4, which of course simplifies, so we get negative square root of 2 over 2. Number 21, they gave it to us in degrees, but it's a negative degrees, so negative 315 degrees means you're going backwards. If I take 360 and subtract 315, that gives me a 45 degree angle. So again, we've got that 45, 45, 90. So 1, 1 and the square root of 2, that's positive, that's positive. So if I'm going to do the cosine, I'm going to do the adjacent over the hypotenuse. My adjacent side is 1, so I get 1 over the square root of 2. And again, when I rationalize that one, which you'll do a lot, we end up with the square root of 2 over the square root of 4, which is the square root of 2 over 2. Now again, on these ones, if you look at the Alex note sheets or my note sheets, you're going to have those tables like we did on those previous ones where we had to pick out the coordinates of our angle. Remember that the first one is the cosine and the second one is the sine when you're looking, if you're looking at those circles where you have those for reference. Just keep in mind that if I were doing 5 pi over 6, the first one should be my cosine answer, the second one is my sine answer. So here's your 60 degree angles, or here's your 30 degree angles, here's your 60 degree angles, and then over on my next page would be the 45. And then actually we got the 90 degree angles on there also. So if you're looking at those to kind of double check to make sure it looks right, you can print those out on the Alex notes or on my note sheets to have those reference circles already drawn. Keep in mind the first one's a cosine, the second one's a sine.